Hi guys, welcome to our latest game. Charlie has had fun while I've been at work today and he's done his version of the Battle of Leipzig. So this is truly a monster game. I just totted it up. There are over 70 allied battalions on the table. So let's have a look at what Charlie's created for us. So we have French in a central position around this cluster of buildings which are representing the city of Leipzig. And we've got some buildings slightly outlying the centre, which are representing some of the villages in the French defensive position around Leipzig. So over here on the left, we have Blucher's Prussian corps approaching. So we've got 6 or so battalions of line in the front there. Charlie's then set up some reservists and some Landwehr to attack on this left flank of the position, supported by some Prussian dragoons. As we move across, we have some Prussian Cossacks, and then we have a number of Russian line battalions, and 2 regiments rather, of Russian cuirassiers and some Russian lancers. And here on the right flank, we have Saxons who may be fighting as Saxons or Prussians, I think. Charlie's intending to use them as, Austrians, here on the right. The Prussians also have a substantial number of reinforcements off table here, another 20 or so battalions of Prussian infantry. As you can see, my Prussian army is pretty substantial in 15 mil, must have 20 to 30 battalions there. Now facing against that Prussian corps on the left, Russian corps in the centre and Austrian corps on the right, we have the French defensive position. We have a division here on the left, supported by 2 light cavalry units, 2 light cavalry divisions. In the centre here, we have another French division, with a final French division out on the right, either side of this village. In reserve, we have a 4th French division, and then we have the Young Guard division, and that's supported by an Old Guard brigade and the Old Guard heavy cavalry. Right, so pretty substantial forces on the table. This game is, I trust, going to be chaos. We'll see how it plays out. We'll bring you some highlights of the game, and we'll have a go at the first turn. This might take us a minute or two, given the numbers of units on the table. All right, back in a second. All right, so the French have got initiative. They've put artillery assault on a lot of their defending batteries. These 3 divisions over on the right and the 2 in the centre have got artillery assault off.
Let's just hope it's not the rolling Latin.
Indeed. Charlie's charged in with the Russians against the village and against this battalion. They'll be supporting fire. And the Russian cuirassiers have gone in against this line battalion, so we'll see how they react. All right, let's do the defensive fire for this first. All right, so defensive fire from the garrison. That'll be 3 shots, 5s or 6 needed, nothing. Defensive fire from our artillery battery. It'll go through the skirmish screen. It'll be canister, so the skirmishers will take the first casualty. Firing at these attacking battalions. We do have artillery assault. So there's a couple of red dice for the artillery assault. And you're in columns, so I get an extra artillery dice, don't I? Okay, well that's pretty good. That's a 9. This is going to be painful. So a 9.
Should I spread the casualties between both of them?
Yeah, majority go on the attacking battalion and the other one takes the rest. So this is close range. A 9 is 3 casualties, so that's 6 casualties and a discipline test. So 4 on the attacking battalion and 2 on the supports. And a discipline test at -1 on those attacking Russians. 6, they go unformed, because that goes down to a 5. So that's...
I thought that was me cocked, so I had to re-roll it.
Well, you can re-roll it if you like, but you'll probably get a worse result. Up to you.
Yeah.
It was a 4, wasn't it? You can never get re-rolling it.
So it was a 4.
It's a 3.
It would be the exact same.
That's a 5. You're lucky. That takes you down to a 4, not a 3. So it's not a retreat, but you are unformed. All right.
I'm on -6. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think that chart's going to go in.
Also, should we do this? Should we not have my troops go off table straight away? Because
they'll just stop at the edge.
In actual fact, it would be a huge amount.
Yeah, you can always bring them back on. And the defensive volley from my standard infantry battalion is an 8. So that's another 3 casualties. So you're actually on 7. So the French are going to definitely hold off this first attack, I would have thought, unless there's some extraordinary rolling. So 7 casualties in the charge is -3, -4 because you're at 7, and minus 2 more because you're on form, so that's -6. Are you veterans or just standard
Just
here?
standard.
Okay, so we're both standard, so it's a straight adjustment at -6. Roll for the French. They get a 6. You get a 2.
Reroll.
You're going to re-roll. That was a 5. 5 against a 6 is a -7.
Sorry.
You're thrown back and retreat. And you take an extra D3 casualties. You take an extra 3, so you're on 10 casualties. That was devastating throwback. Actually, you can put 1 casualty on the skirmish screen from that lot if you like, Charlie. Okay. All right, so that's that charge done. Then we've got some more firing over here. So again, this could be tough because we've got another French battery on artillery assault going against the cuirassiers. So firing canister, not quite such a good roll. No extra casualties, and an 8 at close range against the cuirassiers. No adjustments. No adjustments. So an 8 at close range is 3 casualties and a discipline test on the cuirassiers.
I have a feeling it might not be in range because you have to be within like a certain range for us to do supporting fire. Because from here,
I'm only within 1 centimetre, so I'm definitely in supporting fire range. And let's see if we get. No, I don't think you get. Don't think you get bounced through for canister.
no, you won't.
I don't think so. All right, now let's see. Am I going to form square or try and hold on as a line? I think we will try and form square. 8, we do form square.
So I can't do it. I'll just
You
bounce
won't
off.
bounce. You'll bounce off.
I'll get
Yeah,
one.
I get a 10.
It'd be impossible. It would be the exact same. It'd be
It's
impossible.
about a -6 though, isn't it?
No.
Because you took 3 casualties in the charge.
Yeah, that's not -6.
But I got a 10 and you got 5. But you're veterans, aren't you? So
But also,
it probably won't be.
it'll always be the same result.
Oh, it is. That's right.
That's
Yeah,
what we
it's
did
only
that-
it's only
we
on
did that
+6
last
you
time.
break the square, and on -6 nothing happens. You're right. So you just take 1 more casualty, Charlie, for bouncing off the square, and I think I take a casualty as well
Yeah,
for
I've already
being
got
charged.
one.
Put 1 on them, and that's it for charging. Now it's normal movement. All right. So the artillery battery down here for the French is going to fire through the Prussian skirmisher screen that's pushed up against it, and at the Prussian column gets 1 more dice. So that's an 8 for close range, you think, Charlie? It is, isn't it, now? Close range, 8 is 3 casualties in the discipline test, but no more. You pass the discipline test, but you take 3 casualties. Yeah, 2 casualties, and 1 goes on the skirmisher screen, so they go up to 2. That gun's fired. This gun here is going to fire through the skirmishers. It will fire at that column there.
I need to move the cost out.
Yeah, and that range is just about 30 inches, which for 6-pounder guns is effective range. So again, 2 dice with 1 more dice for firing at columns. Another good shot. We're doing well with artillery. That's a 9, so that's 3 casualties and a discipline test, but 1 goes on your skirmisher screen.
Unformed.
So you go unformed.
I've just noticed with the Cossacks, I'm probably going to charge them with the guns because it doesn't really matter if the Cossacks die because they're
Might be a good thing to do next turn.
pretty
Yeah.
bad.
So that's guns done. There's no. We can fire this garrison at your cavalry. 1 casualty on the cavalry. We're probably going to run out of casualty dice. We've got 70 units here, Charlie. Okay. Nothing else to fire down here. This garrison has fired. This unit fired. The cannons have fired. They can't really fire at anything. This gun hasn't fired, but it's got no targets. This garrison will fire at your skirmishers.
That's
1 hit on the skirmishers. If you could get a counter, mark that up, Charlie. We will fire this infantry battalion at the skirmishers as well. It's at -2. That's a 3. That's a loss of fire discipline. This garrison down here will fire at one of the Austrian units. That's 3 casualties and a discipline test on one of those Austrian battalions, Charlie. Austrian/Saxon battalions. A 7, they're fine. This gun has not fired, has it? So it's going to fire artillery assault. 3 extra dice. This will be at close range, so it could be another effective one. But no, it's terrible. 4. 4's not a fatigue casualty, is it? And 1. So that's 1 casualty on the closest Austrians. And that... Sorry, it was this gun here, so it'll be on that one there. I think that's my firing. All of those look like they're out of range. The guns fired, the garrisons fired. Infantry down here fired, the guns fired at the cuirassiers. All fired down here. That's it. So reasonable artillery fire from the French. Now it'll be chance for the Prussians to shoot back. All right, we did the Russian and Prussian allied firing. They're skirmishers mainly because most of the artillery is limbered and moving forward. The skirmishers caused quite a few casualties, but nothing too dramatic on a bunch of the French artillery. And finally, the 1 unlimbered Russian gun fired and caused 1 casualty on the French battery in the centre. Last thing to do for the turn, we've got a French assault, French defence against a Russian assault. You have 1 supporting battalion. The French also have 1 supporting battalion. Starts off with you having 4 dice, and I get 5. So French should hold off, and they do. It's victory. And the Russians retreat with 4 casualties. Alright, that's it for turn 1. Back in a bit. Alright, so beginning of turn 2, the Allied assaults are really going in. So we've got 3 battalions of Prussians assaulting this village on the left. We've got Prussian light cavalry division, 3 brigades, 3 regiments hussars going against these French lines. They've got to react, see whether they form square or do a defensive volley. We've got Russian Cossacks that have charged the French gun down here. As we move across, the Prussians who were attacking this part of the table failed their falter test, so they've retired off table. They are still faltering. They can come back on again next turn if Charlie gets the roll. We're not using the table as a hard table edge because clearly this is an enormous battle. Here then we've got another Russian element attacking this village. And then we've got the Austrians finally attacking this village on the right. And I think you've also charged some skirmishers over there, Charlie, so those skirmishers will have to fall back in advance of those advancing Austrians. All right, let's start with a defensive fire. Shall we start over here on the left, Charlie? Mm-hmm. So firing my troops from the village on the left against your attacking column. We cause 1 casualty on the column, but not enough to leave a penalty. All right, we will try and form square. We'll try and form square with these lines. No, we go unformed. That could be bad news for that French line. Second French line tries to form square. 10, they do. So success for that one.
If I get a victory on that one unformed, I can go through to the other one that won't get a test because I'll be so close.
And then we'll do some defensive fire from this artillery battery against the Cossacks. We roll a 6 at close range. Is 2 casualties against the Cossacks.
That was lucky.
So that will have some impact on their charge. And then as we move across here, we've got defensive volley against these infantry assaulting the village. 1 casualty on the lead battalion. And we'll do a defensive volley on the other assault on the village. That's 2 casualties on the attacking Austrian battalion and a discipline test on them as well, please. A discipline test, because we rolled a double 6 for our skirmishers and a 5, so they go unformed. And that's 2 casualties on them. All right, now let's do the charge reactions. So you have charged this French line. This will not be a pretty outcome, I don't imagine. So the French line is standard. Your hussars were they?
I think
they were line, weren't they, as well? So no morale adjustments. But unformed is +2 to you, Charlie, and another +2 for me being in line. No casualties in the charge, and you have a support and a general, so you're on +5. I am not putting my general in. We roll an 8, you roll an 8, so you've won by 5.
I'm going to re-roll my 2.
Okay, you can do that. See if you can get your win by 6. You do. So I am overrun, and you get to charge on into the second line.
So they won't be able to form square, So I'm just too
No,
close.
you still could get the charge reaction.
I'm too close to you. Because the actual game of inches, it's it's 9 inches.
Let's just check that. You probably are right. Do you want to do your charge reaction against the other square first?
It's going to be nothing.
8.
Yeah.
3. Okay, so you have to fall back. You need to roll your charge on distance, which is 5 dice.
They'll go in.
Yeah, I know, but it's how much further they go if they break this line too. You need to work out. So you go 10, 15, 16 centimetres. So we'll measure that and we'll just check the rule about being able to shoot on a charge. All right, against the second line, this will be an inferior volley because part of the line is covered by their own square, but we do get a defensive volley. We get a 3, that's loss of fire discipline, that's not great. So now charge reaction, Charlie, you are on +3, I think, for charging a line and having your commander attached. There's nothing for fire discipline, it's just inferior volleys, isn't it? So let's see where we go. Charlie, you get some black dice. +3 to the French. Oh, you're not going to get another breakthrough. You got a re-roll, so you got 7, 8, 9, 10 against 6. You have 1 by 4. I'm sure you'll be meleeing with Elan. Cavalry melee with Elan, defender melees unformed. So that will be quite good for you. So that's that charge. You've got the charge against the guns. We caused 2 casualties. It's a flank charge, so it's +4 for you. And your lancers, I think the artillery count as infantry. So you're on +5, charging this gun in the flank. That's an 8 against a 7. Still an 8 against a 7. What was it on? +5.
Yeah.
So that's a win by 6. You've overrun that gun. And you can charge on, but you can't charge into the front of formed infantry. So you got that gun because you're in the flank, but you then have to stop.
Yeah, because the square.
You can't charge the square, and you can't charge the line because Cossacks can't charge formed infantry in the front. So the Cossacks have to stop where they are. So no charge on for the Cossacks. No other charges in the open, are there, Charlie? Ah, yes. Against the guns, I've got defensive fire from the battery, and I can also get support from the second battery.
I was over here, Dad.
I know, but you stop at 3 centimetres, Charlie.
You were hesitant, so you have to shoot straight.
Oh, you're right, I am hesitant, so I do have to shoot straight. So I've got an 8, and I'm firing at close range. Close range, and 8 is 3 casualties in a discipline test against your cavalry. So discipline test on the cavalry, Charlie.
10.
10. They are fine, but they've taken 3 casualties.
So that'll be -2.
It'll be -2 for 3 casualties.
But then against head-on infantry,
your
equalise
lancer,
it.
so it takes it.
+1,
so it's only +1 to the French.
Yeah. The Russians, yeah.
No, it's +1 to me.
Because you're in line, like you count as being in line.
No, artillery
against cavalry.
Doesn't count like that. You don't get an adjustment for that. So you're on -2 for casualties, +1 because you're lancers. So you're on -1. I think I will just check that. But I get a 6. You get a 9, which goes down to an 8. So you will be meleeing probably with the lamb. We'll check cavalry versus infantry and artillery. You melee with a lamb, I'm melee unformed. It simply says artillery skirmishers and garrisons do not support. I'll have to check the detailed rules, see how we classify them, but I don't think you get the line bonus for that. So you're meleeing with a lamb. Okay, so Charlie and I have been arguing, haven't we, Charlie, over the rules, and we've decided that we do now understand how to do building combat after probably 100 games of version 1 of General d'Armée. So this one is not a strong point, it's just a built-up area. So Charlie can actually attack with 2 battalions, but he doesn't get any reinforcements in the second round. The French can only defend with 1 battalion, and if they're not hesitant, then they can defend with up to 3 battalions if they're in support range in the second round. But that brigade is hesitant, so there's a good chance that the French will lose this building. So 8 dice for that. Prussians, yeah. Are you just standard or are you veterans?
Oh yeah, we're just standard.
Okay, pretty good. We caused 4 casualties. Wow, the French stand up to it and the Prussians take 2 and are thrown back. Right now Charlie's charging in with his hussars. I get 4 dice, but 5 dice down to 4 because I'm unformed, and you're meleeing with a lamb, so you get an extra dice. So you get 6, Charlie, and you've got, oh no, this is melee, so suppose don't add anything. I only cause 1 casualty, you cause 3, so you've won by 2. And you'll break that unit, but it's not a breakthrough.
You might disperse because I'm cavalry and you're infantry. But
let's just check. Win by 2, cavalry versus infantry. I do indeed disperse, and you take the ground. So those hussars move forward and take the ground, and their supports move up with them.
You're already faltering,
so that'll be a faltering test on that brigade. Ooh. Yeah, but we've lost quite a lot this turn. Shall we put a double 6 by them so we can remember their faltering?
I think that's now the whole division has 2 falters, because...
Which was the other one that we've lost?
The cannon dies for this side, and they've lost 1 now because they've got 3. Actually, no, never mind, they haven't. No, these guys haven't.
4, yeah, so it was the same on the same brigade in that division. Then we've got down here, you've got, again, 2 battalions assaulting. I get 5 defensive dice, you get 8 attacking dice. You're regulars, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So the French caused 3 casualties. Okay, 4. You do better this time. How many have you caused? You caused 6.
Oh, 6.
Against 3, yeah, because remember it's 4s, Charlie. So 6 casualties, so you've won by 3. So against a built-up area, we retreat, take 6 casualties, and you capture that building. Right, over here, not so good. I only get 2 dice because I'm unformed artillery, and I cause 1 casualty.
I've caused 1.
I caused 1 casualty, somewhat remarkable, but the cavalry failed to charge home, so that's a draw. I think we might get a second round of combat. Cavalry versus infantry. No, infantry stand. Artillery uses the infantry result columns, so cavalry return their own lines. So both take a casualty, and that's that. And then, so they go, have you put the casualty on them, Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got the attacks on the buildings. Again, see if Charlie can break in here. There's some more Prussian dice. I've got 5 casualties because I'm defending, and you've got 3 attacking battalions, so you've got 8. We caused 2 casualties.
I've caused 4.
4 casualties, so I will retreat, and you will also capture that building. All right, so at the end of that combat, the French right flank brigade is holding on, but the Prussians have caused a bit of a breakthrough here. There will be a French cavalry counterattack, obviously, next turn with those 2 cavalry divisions in reserve here, but this brigade is faltering and broken, so the Prussians have achieved a breakthrough here, and these 2 battalions down here are going to flee. Otherwise, over here, the Russians have broken into this first village, and the Austrians have broken into that first line of defence. Where are no? The division runs from here, so there's 1 retreat here, and that was a separate division because it was building to building. So only 2 retreats. All right, so we'll have to do that Falter test. We won't have to do the Falter test because the brigade's already broken, isn't it, Charlie?
But you have to.
But do I have to allocate a dice to it? I don't know that I do because they've already gone as effectively now. But I will lose the relevant ADCs. All right, we'll come back with the next.
So I won't be up for back.
All right, so Falter tests for me. So Charlie and I have come up with some modified Falter rules. These was Charlie's suggestion, which I think is quite good. This game is so big, we're not fighting as brigades, we're activating divisions. So divisions are about 10 battalions. But each of those divisions is composed of 2 brigades. So when we take a Falter test, because of the sheer scale of the battlefield, we only apply the Falter test, or the broken brigade, to the relevant brigade. However, the 2nd brigade in the division triggers the need for a Falter test next turn.
So they will falter now if you didn't get a Savoy. So they would be fine if you didn't get a Savoy keeper, because they ran for their lives. They get a falter now.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure I understand that, but we'll try. So, falter test, anything but a savoir keeper, are you saying?
No,
then,
so
Charlie?
so what caused the falter test on them
Yeah.
is because you got a savoir keeper.
Right,
That
yeah.
caused
That
your
causes a ripple effect. So if I
Yeah.
get a savoir keeper or indeed a broken brigade, which is actually what I got,
Yeah.
so effectively the same as a savoir keeper,
That causes your
that
rest of your
causes a
division.
falter on the rest of the division. So we roll a 5, which is obey orders.
Yeah.
So that second brigade is all right and stays in the line.
But now,
All right, so now Charlie, you've got a false test for your Prussian brigade that fell back from the village.
That's
You've
fine.
also got obey orders, so they're all good. Now we roll for initiative. I think Prussians and Allies are on -1,
yeah.
but the French only roll a 4. The
Just-
Prussians roll a 6, so the Allies get initiative for turn 6 or turn 5?
6 now.
Turn 6. All right, so quite a lot of charging. So in the centre here, we've got a massive cavalry melee as the two light cavalry divisions go into conflict with one another. Otherwise here, the Prussians are reforming and shaking themselves out. They'll probably come back on the offensive next turn. And we've got the Prussian reserves coming up here to help support an attack on this village in due course. Otherwise down here, we've got infantry assault on the reserve French line. They're going to have a go at retaking this village, so we will declare a charge on that in our charge phase. Charlie has charged in with his cuirassiers against the unformed grand battery here, and the Austrians have gone in against the French left flank. All right, we'll just we will do these charges and then we'll come back. Okay, starting with the French red coloured hussars against these dark blue Prussian hussars. It's a straight roll off, both are line troops with commanders attached. Wow, 2 terrible rolls, but Charlie does win by 1 on a cavalry melee.
I have 11.
That's just a straight melee and counter charge. So we move into contact, and that will just be straight combat next turn. Two terrible rolls. All right, and then this one down here, again, we've both got a support. We're both regulars, chasseurs de cheval against Prussian hussars. Both of us have got a reroll. Let's see what we get. Well, we do better. We're not going to re-roll a 10, Charlie. You get a 6. So the French have won this one by 4. That'll go quite well for them. So -4. You melee unformed, and I countercharge a melee
that's terrible
with
for me.
Elan.
I could.
So-
Well, with my rolling last in the combat of my cavalry against the guns, I might do well.
You do fine. You do absolutely fine. All right, so that's those charges down there. Then down here, we've got a charge against the square. I can do a defensive volley.
You've got 5 discipline.
But you find that
It'll be a half effect and
it'll be
inferior
half
volley.
effect and inferior volley.
It's more fire
Nothing,
discipline.
more fire discipline, so nothing from that. Then we've got an unformed gun battery doing defensive fire, but it does get supporting fire as well, so the cuirassiers might not like this. So artillery unformed is -2, and I think that's it. Yeah, -2 to the French.
And you've got casualties, so it's -3.
And it's -3. So 3, that's a discipline casualty, and then the supporting battery, is it's just a straight roll. A 10 at close range is 4 casualties and a discipline test on the cuirassiers.
They're fine.
Cuirassiers, fortunately, are fine. All right, so the cuirassiers will now charge home. They are veterans, so that's +1. They're heavy cavalry, that's +2. They took 4 casualties, so that's -3, so they're on -1, and they've got 4 casualties, so that takes them to -2.
What? No, it doesn't. 4 casualties doesn't make it -2. Oh no, it does.
It does. It does. Now, then I always struggle with what we classify artillery as. I presume infantry in line.
I feel like it should be worse though, because they would have get.
Yeah.
They're such a small.
I think we'll just check, see if we got anything in the proper rule book rather than on the summary sheet. All right. So we're not quite sure whether this is +1 or +3 to the Russian heavy cavalry as to whether we apply a line infantry modifier to the artillery, which seems sensible, but can't find anything on that. I roll a 10. Oh, it does make a difference, but probably not. So charge result is either
I'll just bounce off.
you melee with Elan or you bounce off.
I think they would count as line because the gun crews are
It
tiny.
seems sensible to me,
Yeah.
Charlie. So we'll say you're meleeing with a LAN and the gun crew are unformed. All right, then we've got the charges over here. I've got some defensive volleys, so doing the right-hand defensive volley first. 8.
That's good.
That's not too bad.
Probably a discipline test. Or something. Like 2 casualties in a discipline test.
Oh, I get a combat dice as well, because you're in column at close range. No, it doesn't cause anything. So an 8 for a standard volley is 3 casualties, so 2 on one and 1. 2 on the lead and 1 on the support. And then for the other battalion, a 7, which is 2 casualties, so 2 go on the lead battalion. None on the support, because it's the majority go on the lead. You were doing the support there, Charlie, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
And so we need to remember it's 2 casualties on both of those. So let's do the charge results there. So the right-hand one, as I look at it, they've got 5 casualties, so that's -1, and they took 2. Yeah, so that's -2 to the Austrians. Yeah, but you've got 2 re-rolls. The French have got 1 re-roll. I think, yeah, we'll just take 1 re-roll for the French. So this is at -2 to the Austrians. French gets a 9.
Oh, I'm
The
going to re-roll
French
both.
win. You can re-roll both, yeah. That's better. You get a 9, so it's -2. You volley unformed, so you do 1 combat dice against me. No casualties. All right, and then the next one, I've got 2 re-rolls in the next one, and you've got 2 re-rolls.
Oh my, terrible again. I'm re-rolling both, I've got a 5.
All right. You're on a 7, I'm on an 8. So it goes to a -3.
No, it's not. I only took 2 casualties.
Yeah, and it's -1 for 2 casualties. Are you on 4? You are as well, so that's another -1 for that. So you're on -2.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're on. What did you roll? A 9. What did you roll?
7.
A 7. That becomes a 5 against an 8. So it's -3. You retire with 1 casualty. So you go unformed. All right. So part of that attack thrown back. Now it will be allied shooting. All right, so we've done firing, numerous casualties across the board. The major event was one of the Russian battalions being destroyed by a combination of volley and cannon fire. It's this brigade here that's been driven off twice now.
It didn't get destroyed,
But didn't get destroyed. It retreated off the table with 11 casualties, so it won't be coming back.
You did lose one here, Dad. You lost.
I lost, and we lost a square here. So Charlie unlimbered 2 Austrian batteries down here, and they opened fire at the square that was in the corner there, and with all the bonuses and the fire from the farm, he destroyed that battalion. So there is a discipline test on this left-hand division. All right, Charlie, let's see if you can get more of a discipline test. We've got a charge going on here. You've got quite a lot of dice. Your veteran heavy cavalry.
Do you know what my black dice?
They'll be around somewhere, Charlie. They'll be around.
Oh, they were here.
So you are heavy cavalry plus 2 dice.
But I lost one for my casualties.
And you lose 1, but you gain 1 for being a higher morale grade.
Okay.
I'm unformed, so I lose 1, and I only get 3 dice anyway because I'm artillery, so I'm down to 2. So I cause 1 casualty.
Oh my god, that nearly happened again.
It nearly happened again. The artillery nearly survived, but they do lose by 1. And I think artillery uses the infantry result column. So cavalry versus infantry, we retreat, so that causes that artillery battalion battery to disperse. So you take the ground.
Oh yeah, they have 8 casualties because they would have gotten 7.
Well, so they.
Because you get these.
Yeah. So it's another falter test, but that's against the same brigade, so you're already faltering. All right, down here you're charging against a square. So you are
elites. These are veterans. These are veterans.
These are veterans, so you get +1 dice for that. I think that's it. And I'm not unformed or anything, am I?
You're in square though. That should be.
Yeah, doesn't seem to say anything. Flank or rear 5. We'll check, but I don't think it does anything.
Are you unformed?
I'm not unformed. So +1 dice for you. I get 5 dice.
Yeah.
Because I've taken 3 casualties. Yeah, 5 dice. So the French get 3 casualties. They throw them back. We will just check that modifier for square. Right, so the result stood. The square did stand against the charge of the Russian grenadiers. All right, now down here we'll do the French chasseurs à cheval against the hussars. It'll be 5 dice for me, 4 dice for Charlie.
That's not that bad.
No. I do 3. I am rolling well on my hand-to-hand combat. 3-3. It's a draw.
That's
Let's
really
mark
lucky.
up the casualties. And I think on a draw we might get to fight a second round, which
No,
throws
we just return to our own lines, I'm fairly sure.
Draw. Cavalry versus cavalry. Fight on, young sir.
Do I
So
get-
we can throw in our extra units as well if we like.
So
So
just be-
I'm going to put my
It's gonna
supports
be, It's
in.
gonna be the exact same. I just get one. You just get one
I
extra.
just keep on having 1 extra.
Yeah.
Roll 5 red ones. Okay, let's see what we do here. It's actually proportionately better off for the Russians this time. Ah, definitely better with that roll. I only
Ooh.
caused 2 casualties.
I cost 6.
Wow, that's definitely bad
Falter.
news for me.
That's a falter, I think.
You caused 6, did you
So I
say?
win by 4.
So it would be 3 on each, so they go on to 6. And the other one's going on to 3.
That's unbelievable. How
And
I
I
won that.
think that's a retreat, and that's 2 retreats. So as Charlie says, that will be a falter and an exceptionally good result. He was looking so grumpy after his grenadiers, but his light cavalry have done him good, and those French are retreating. All right, so we have a hussar breakthrough, although they're now going, oh my God, 2 batteries of French Guard 12-pounders, but they have nearly made it to the centre of Leipzig, so broken through 2 French divisions. All right, second assault, this is a straight roll-off, 5 for 5. Let's see how we do. Oh, terrible for the French. This light cavalry division only causes 1 casualty.
I win by 3.
Prussians have caused 4. That's another retreat result. That's not good, and definitely a faltering brigade, and those other hussars will take the ground. All right, so here we are at the end of turn 6, isn't it, Charlie? So real success for the Prussians, and even if this light cavalry take heavy losses by a possible counterattack by the Guard cavalry and the Guard artillery, they have really caused a substantial hole in the French lines, and we have plenty of Prussians looking to move up and exploit nearly 12 battalions that could wreck the French position. So we'll see how this one plays out. On the right flank, Austrians are making reasonable progress, but we do have a French heavy cavalry division about to potentially counterattack the Russian cuirassiers.
You could
So
say
we'll
it's, a
see
bit
how
like
that
it's a
goes.
good little death corner here. You've got 2,
Yeah,
like
we
3
do
batteries
have
of
quite
guns.
a lot of Allied artillery down here, though, so that will not bode well. All right, let's see where we go in turn 7, and we have 2 faltering French divisions, so we'll have to take account of that. All right, so pretty terrible go for activation, wasn't it, Charlie? So quite a lot of hesitant Austrians. So the Russian light cavalry is hesitant. The Austrian
Here.
brigade in the village is hesitant, but the one attacking on the right is okay. The Russians were okay, and indeed are going to assault this village. Over here, however, unfortunately, the breakthrough corps has had a moment of doubt. So the dragoons, the light cavalry, and the Landwehr?
No, they were active.
Landwehr were
It was just the
active,
Prussian cavalry
but
hesitant.
the Prussian cavalry is hesitant, so Charlie's -4. For the French, the Guard pretty much all went hesitant, so we're on -3 for the French.
Terrific roll.
Terrific rolling, so -3 for the French, -4 for the Prussians. Let's do our faltering tests. So we've got a re-roll on our light cavalry, but we might lose our French light cavalry. 6. Now they obey orders, but are all
In
unformed.
a very bad position.
And then we've got our division
These ones. So
down
this
here.
brigade here.
This brigade here is the one in square in amongst the heavy cavalry. they also
That's too
obey
bad for you
orders.
because they can't go really help anything.
No, so they're sort of stuck where they are,
They're just sitting ducks.
but at least they obey orders and they haven't fled. So that's it. Now let's roll for initiative. See if the Austrians, French,
Oh, yeah, I'm not getting
French are going to get
Well,
11.
I need to get a double six.
You need to get a double six. If you get a double
Yeah,
six, you don't. So the French have initiative. French charge first. Okay, so we've done our charges. The Polish lancers have charged in against the hussars, but the hussars were able to countercharge. So we'll see how that ends up in combat. The Prussians have again assaulted this village and this village, trying to crack the edge of the left-hand flank of the French position. In the centre, my Carabiniers charged Charlie's cuirassiers, who countercharged, so we've got a straight-off combat there. In the distance, Charlie's light cavalry went into that French line, but they were able to form square. Charlie has charged the gun. It only caused 2 casualties, so it's looking good for Charlie trying to break in to this position. Did I do a volley from that one? I don't think I.
No, you got fire discipline.
Oh, I did. I got fire discipline, didn't I? Because then we were looking at supports, but you didn't charge your supporting battalions in. So that's it. We'll now come back and do more normal movement and see you again in a minute. Right, shooting completed. Anything major happen in the shooting, Charlie? We caused some more casualties on the Austrians on the right flank. Our guard artillery caused quite a lot of casualties on the hussar unit in the centre. 3 casualties on there. And that was pretty much it. We caused a few casualties on the flank of the Russians who are protecting the village. All right, let's do the hand-to-hand combats. Do you want to start in the village over there, Charlie? So you're attacking with 2 battalions, is that right?
Yeah, I've already got them ready, so it's just
okay, so I've got 4. You don't have any other losses for casualties. So I've caused 4 casualties.
I've caused 3, so it goes to a second round.
Yeah, I can pull in 1 support. So it's 4 casualties each. So I go to 6 and you go to 4. So you've got I presume you've still got the same battalions attacking in the second round, and I get an extra 4 because I get an extra 5, but I lose 1 because I've now taken 4 casualties. So the French get 4 more casualties. How many did you do?
5.
5. So you win by 1. You've captured another village. Right, so having captured the village to the north, we now have the Prussian flags flying over it. Let's see if the Russians can capture this village. The French do 3 casualties.
Yeah, we don't. We do 1.
The Russians really are not got their hearts in it today.
It's just that attack brigade has done terribly this whole game.
They are thrown back, and 2 battalions are attacking, so that's a retreat. So that will be a falter test, and they will be off the table but faltering. So we will just do that and then come back with the next. Right, so Polish Lancers against the Hussars. We only caused 4 casualties.
I did 3.
You did 3. You lose by 1.
That's actually quite good.
Which is pretty good, given that you're going against elite lancers. But a loss of 1 means you retreat and the lancers take the ground. Okay, so some of the threat to the centre has been driven back by the counterattack of the guard lancers. Let's see the clash of the heavy cavalry over here.
Oh my god, only 1!
And I've got...
My rolling has been so bad.
It has been really unlucky, hasn't it? That's 6 casualties on the cuirassiers. So definitely a retreat result on the cuirassiers, and the French heavy cavalry have punched the cuirassiers off table. All right, this battle is going long, isn't it, Charlie? It's taking a fair while to play. We're going to have a break now. We're just about to start turn 8, so we're just doing activations. The French have 3 Heston brigades, the light cavalry at the back there, 1 of the young guard battalions, and this infantry division that's hanging, holding the centre. For the Allies, any Heston brigades, Charlie?
Only 1.
Which one?
It was the heavy cavalry here.
The heavy cavalry are Heston. All right, so we've now got to do the falter tests. So we have a falter test on this brigade here for the losses that were caused as the French broke through. We have a re-roll. So we roll a 1. That's a savoir keeper. Oh, it was nearly a double 1. So they hang in there and they obey orders thanks to the reroll. So that is good news for the French. That left flank has not collapsed with the weights of Prussians going. We certainly need to try and hang on there, but we're not in a great position. And then our brigade that's facing the Prussians, it lost its artillery, rather Austrians. They also obey orders. So we have been very lucky.
We've had like 5 of them.
I know, and we haven't really lost anything. All right, so let's have a break at turn 8. Dusk is approaching, nearly the end of day 1. We're playing 10 turns for each day, 3 days, and so we're on turn 8 next. Let's do a recap of where we are. So we still have a massive Prussian army moving up to try and crush the French left flank. That looks pretty possible now. The French have now lost pretty much all of the outlying villages. The Russians hold this one on the right, the Austrians hold the one on the left, and the one on the right, and the one on the far left. The Prussians have just taken, and the French infantry is in disarray, but still plenty of light cavalry on this flank. The Prussian cavalry is there to contest with them, but I think the Guard are going to have to be committed soon to shore up that flank. In the centre, the French have done very well. The Russians look like they're driven off in a bit of a spent force. We've thrown back assaults on this position twice, although the Russians hold this position here. Actually, Charlie, we need to do an infantry assault as I try and counterattack.
Oh yeah, you forgot to do that last time.
So we'll do that in a second. And on the right, the Austrians are really pushing forward, although the French heavy cavalry has caused a bit of a hiccup in Charlie's plans there. All right, let's just do the assault on this village, shall we, Charlie?
Yeah.
So I've got 8 dice because I've got 2 battalions attacking. You've got 5 to defend with, so we may be able to get back in. Oh yeah, tremendous roll from the French. Keep 4. On rolling well. We've got 6, so the French do retake the village. Right, quite a few charges at the beginning of the turn 8. So the French have charged over here against the Austrian line. The French heavy cavalry, which were here, have charged. Carabiniers have gone into these units of lancers, and the cuirassiers have swung left, but didn't know that there were 2 batteries of Saxon guns down there, so they'll take some difficult passing fire. In response, or at the same time, we've done all the charge moves at the same time, we've got the Russians counter-attacking back into this village. Over here, the Prussians from the Landwehr division are assaulting for the first time into this village, and the Guard Lancers are continuing their counter-attack on this flank. So we'll start on the right, and we'll do my charge into your Prussian battalion. You've got a shot, Charlie, and half effect, if you like.
That's nothing. I've got nothing.
You got nothing?
I've got a 4.
You've got a 4, right. So charge results.
I'm on -1. I'm on -1, but we both get a reroll.
And we've both got 1 support, yeah. And I think that's it. So we get an 8, you get a 2, so we win by 6. You take an extra casualty and you retreat, and your supports retire. So we've driven 1 battalion off. I'll get you extra casualty dice, Charlie. Charlie's tendency for disastrous rolling hasn't been helped by a night's sleep, has it, Charlie? All right, let's do the one down here. I think I've got an inferior volley as you charge into me, because I've only got half a battalion that I can see. And a 7 on an inferior volley is not going to be very much at all. 1 casualty on that attacking
so that won't do
Austrian battalion, so that won't do anything on the charge. And you've got a support, and here I have no support. So you get a reroll.
I'll still get like a double 1.
You'll get a double 1 followed by a 1.
What's terrible
not
roll?
So good. An 8 plays a 4, so I've won by 4. So you again have to retreat. So the Austrians are not performing great today. Okay, so they stay where they are. All right, down here, you've got a couple of sets of fire from those guns that I didn't know were there. So they're going to be a couple of batteries at close range.
So this one first?
Yeah. A 7, that's not too bad. That's 2 casualties and a discipline test. And then the second one, an 8, which is 3 casualties and a discipline test. So first one will be a normal discipline test. These are veterans. So that goes down to a 4, so they're unformed. And then the second discipline test is an 8 -1, so no further damage than unformed, but they have taken 5 casualties charging in, which is not great. So on the charge results, 5 casualties in the turn is -3, so that's -4. I am heavy cavalry, so that goes down to -3.
But then you're
And I am
unformed.
1 morale grade better than you, so that's -2, but I'm unformed as you say, Charlie, so back up to -4. I think these cuirassiers are going to struggle.
Don't
Charlie,
know.
you've got a reroll as well,
of course.
which you need. You get a 7, and a 9 goes down to a 5, so you've won by 2, Charlie. So that's the charge result at -2, so we just have a straightforward melee there, but I am unformed. All right, down here we've got the cuirassiers.
So the gun.
They've got 4 casualties. The gun can fire, yeah. Defensive volley from them.
7 that's
is
just
2 casualties.
So that one's
And a
6 now.
discipline test.
-1.
I think.
Unformed.
No,
Because it's at -1, there'll be a 5.
Let's just check whether it was a discipline test. The close range 6 is only 2 casualties, no discipline
No,
test.
I got a 7.
Okay, so that is a discipline test, so they're unformed. So that's -3 for me, but I'm one morale grade better, so it's -2. But you've got a reroll. 7
So
against
bad.
7. I was on what, -2, was it,
Yeah.
Charlie? So you've won by 2.
It's just a combat again.
So straightforward combat.
My roll's been so bad.
Your rolls have been so bad. That we will complete in the combat phase. You charged in, didn't you?
Yeah.
That gun is more than 3 centimetres away, so it can't fire supporting fire, unfortunately. Down here I've got defensive fire as you try and charge in from my garrison. I do 2 casualties against one of the attacking units. Okay, then we got charges here. So you're veterans and cuirassiers, so you're +2.
It'll be a straight roll off because I'm heavy cavalry. That counts for your elite.
I'm elite though. Oh yes,
Yeah.
you are. So you're +3. Sorry, you're heavy cavalry +1, veteran +1, so you're +2. I am
Elite.
elite, so I am +2, and I'm one morale grade better, so I'm +3, and I'm last.
You only
But
do
I
that,
get nothing for being lancers.
you only do that for combats. You don't do that for normal charges.
Oh, you're right. I just get +2 for being elite.
It's a straight roll
So,
off.
so it's just a straight roll off. You're right.
Oh my god.
I get an 8. You get a 4.
Reroll.
You get a 5 against an 8. I win by 3.
I've gone.
I'm meleeing. No, I melee with a lan.
My roll.
You're
is so
unformed. Okay. You got charges over here. Defensive volley from me. A 7
bad. -1.
because of my casualties.
Yes.
Have I got casualties? Yeah, I got 6, I guess. So that's a 6. That's 1 casualty against you. Take them up to 2.
Okay, next one. So now the assault. I've
So
got
I'm
2
on
support,
-1, and
I've
you've
got-
got 2 attacking battalions.
Surely.
So I got. So a 7
I've got-
against a
I'm
5.
gonna do, I can do one more reroll.
No, you can
I've
do.
got 2
Oh, right,
supports.
yeah, okay. An 8
That's
against
still
a 5, so it's an 8 against a 4, so you've won by 4. So you haven't got a breakthrough. You don't get a breakthrough at every attack, Charlie.
Yeah, but I've
You take the
been
ground,
rolling
I
so-
take 1d3 casualties. You did it right now. Take an extra
Yeah, but-
casualty.
I've only won one of those fights. That's the only fight I've won.
So they're going to be back here. I don't know where they're going to go. There's not really much space back there. And they've got 7 casualties now. 7 casualties, and you take the ground.
Your skirmishers will have to do that.
We didn't actually get into contact with them. So I
Would they
think
go
they're
off
right.
table? Wouldn't you say they'd have to go off table and you can print
Well, I
them
retreat
apart?
back towards the village. It doesn't really matter whether they come off table, they could get a chance to come back on because there's only 1 unit retreating.
Okay.
So that's it. Is that all the charges done, Charlie?
Yeah.
So who had initiative this turn? The French did, didn't
Yeah.
they? So the French
They
get
got
to
double movement.
fire next.
It's moving.
No, it's movement next. All right, we'll do movement and then we'll come back with the firing. All right, we're just on to hand. We've done firing. Russian firing by his guns destroyed a French infantry battalion in the front line there, so that division up here is faltering. Otherwise, just a few scattered casualties, Charlie, wasn't it? Anything particularly to mention? Nothing particular. So we're on to hand-to-hand combat. So we've got 5 dice here for our heavy cavalry. Let's look at our modifiers for heavy cavalry. Let's check those. So I lose 1 for 5 casualties, but I am heavy cavalry, so I gain 1. And I am 1 morale grade higher than you,
but
so
you
I gain
1,
1, but I lose 1 because I'm on form. So I'm back to 5 dice.
I just get 5.
You get 5, okay. Oh wow.
3.
5.
Well, this is actually okay for me because now they're basically gone. Like they can't do much.
They're
anymore.
on to 8 casualties, aren't they now, Charlie?
Yeah.
But you retreat, and you take your supports with you. But you have pretty much blown. I have blown that unit of heavy cavalry. All right, then down here, again, same. I've got 5 dice.
It's the same, but I get 1
yeah.
more. So I've got,
so I've got 5. Yeah.
I've got 6.
And you've got lancers. I've got another great roll.
Oh, that's actually good for me again.
What did you get, Charlie?
I got 3 casualties on you, so...
So I'm on to 9, and you're driven off the board. But again, this heavy cavalry brigade, although it's driven off these Russians rather, is in pretty dire states. Their supports go back with them, Charlie, as well. So they go off table.
These ones can come back on because they're just retired.
Yeah, they can. But that is not that is a full test. No, they were different divisions, aren't they? Yeah, that was an Austrian light cavalry division and a Russian light cavalry division. So that's not a full test.
Yeah, it's the exact same as always. Oh no, it's not.
I've got 5, you've got 8.
No, you've got 4 because you've unformed.
Because I'm unformed, you're right. I'm only because I only took it back last turn. I get 2 casualties. You get the luck this turn. You got 7, so I'm on 8, and I am thrown out. And you recapture that village. No, I don't get destroyed. All right, so down here, I've got how many dice, Charlie? I've got 5.
Yeah.
I'm not full. I'm not unformed. You've got 8. I cause 3 casualties.
I cause 4, so it goes to second round.
It goes to second round. I can throw in a 2nd battalion. So I took 3, didn't I, Charlie? So not enough to lose a dice.
No, you took 4.
Did I?
Yeah.
4. Okay, so I do lose a dice. So I've got 9 dice in the second round. And you've got...
the same, I can just...
You've got 8. No, because you don't lose the 1 for attacking a built-up area, I don't think, in the second round. So you've actually got 10. How many did I cause on you? 3, didn't I?
I could just put 2 on them and 1 on the other. 2, 1.
Yeah, you could, couldn't you?
Okay, fine.
So you've got 10 dice. Still pretty close. Let's see if the French can hold on. I've got 4 casualties.
Ooh, I think it needs combat, so I've got 6.
Okay, so put 2 on each. Okay, and so I'm on to 10.
Put 3 on each, probably.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Because you...
But I've got 2 retreats, so that's another falter.
Yeah.
So they were on 4 before, weren't they? So they're now on 7, yeah? We are running out of casualty dice, Charlie. We have taken so many of these.
Yeah, we've only got 1 left, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to kill some more units. And this was on 3, wasn't it?
Should I take off my units that are really battered and they won't come back on? Like,
if you want to voluntarily retire some
and then
units.
I'll just put them into casualty dice. So it won't be a falter, but they're gonna...
You can voluntarily retire them off the field if you want.
Then I'm not going to use them for a bit, so until they come back on. We've just got spare dice.
I think hand-to-hand combat down here. We've got guard lancers against cuirassiers.
Yep.
You were unformed from memory.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were, because I've got a LAN. That's why they're like that.
No, you only won.
I won the combat.
No, it was
by 2 or 3.
No, you didn't. You won by 1. That is just combat.
Okay, all right. We'll do it like that. I'm sure your memory is better than mine.
I think it was just a
I'm elite cavalry +1. +1 for lancers. You're heavy cavalry, so you get +2, so that's neutral. I'm 1 morale grade above you.
But I didn't get one being veteran for this one. But...
So I think it's just 1 more dice for me. So I've got 6. I only cause 2.
I cause 3.
Okay, you win by 1 on a cavalry versus cavalry melee. You take the ground, I retreat. Alright, so here we are at the top of turn 8. We've rolled, both Charlie and I have all 8 brigades active because we went for all re-rolls trying to get the initiative, but unfortunately I have a couple of falters, don't I, Charlie? So we'll see how we do with my faltering brigades, but I have committed 4 of my ADCs for brigade re-rolls. So the division down here, we get a 3, which is a retire. We will re-roll that. We get a 6, which is obey orders. So they're all right and are indeed active. So we'll turn the command around. And then our second faltering brigade is this one that was kicked out of the village. Oh, drop dice don't count. A 4 is a rally order, so they are hesitant, but will stick on that. So routing units disperse, but they are otherwise hesitant, and if I'm within 15 centimeters, I have to step back. All right, we'll do those moves, and then let's roll for initiative. I'm at -1, Charlie. I get a 9, so that goes down to an 8.
My terrible rolling carries on.
Charlie's terrible rolling carries on. The French do have initiative. All right, we'll do our compulsory moves there on the retire, and we'll then do our charges.
In the square, I'm going head on.
So our French light cavalry over here charged these Prussians. They didn't have time to form square because they're going to stay in column to receive that charge. Otherwise, I'd have liked to have charged this building, but this brigade is hesitant, so we can't there. We wanted to charge with this brigade against this building, but they don't have infantry assault orders off, so they can't get any supports. The division which does have infantry assault, which is the one, my reserve division here, their attacking battalion is unformed, and these ones also don't have infantry assault. But the only other thing is we have charged these Austrians with my last regiment of cuirassiers. So they potentially do have a form square move. Let's see what Charlie's reactions are. All right, we'll start with the cuirassiers. So they're charging in. Let's work out their modifiers before Charlie decides whether to form square. So they're veterans +1, heavy cavalry +2. You're in column, so that'll be -2. So it will be a straight roll-off. Yeah, it'll be a straight roll-off. You gonna go for it, Charlie?
Yeah, why not?
You roll a 7, that's totally average. And I roll a 9, that probably won't be enough. Cavalry versus
that was to form column,
infantry.
Dad. No, that was to form square.
Oh, was it?
I said, yeah, I'll form square,
Right,
why
okay.
not?
You form square then. I've rolled a 9, you do your roll.
Oh my god. I can re-roll my 1. Oh my
God! How come that? So I've won by 6, cavalry versus square. I ride you down and it's victory. I get to charge on. So I get to charge on 5d6.
I get to try and form square again.
So that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You going to try and form square again?
Oh my god.
You go unformed. Lucky Knight is drawing in. My heavy cavalry charge in against you. So I'm on +2 on this one, Charlie, aren't I? Because it's exactly the same except you're unformed. Good roll. 9 against an 8. So I'm on +2, aren't I? So I've won by 1. Cavalry versus infantry. On a +1, I'm melee with a LAN. So they're not automatically lost. But that will be a falter test, so put a double 1 up against them on that Austrian brigade.
No, it won't.
It will, I just wiped out the 1st battalion.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it will.
I thought I just retry.
Yeah. All right, over here. You're going to try and form square over there?
I can't.
You can't because I'm too close. All right, I'm charging
I'm
in.
on +2.
You're on +2. I get no bonuses, but I do have a re-roll. Wow, he's rolled an 11. You're not going to re-roll that, are you, Charlie?
No.
I do get a re-roll. I got a 10, but that's a -3. I could have got a 12. No,
Yeah,
you're right, it would still have been adjusted. So -3, cavalry versus infantry. I take a casualty and retire. So both my cavalry units fall back on this flank. Okay, it's time for allied charge. All right, tit for tat. So the Austrian heavy cavalry are charging the Russian heavy cavalry are charging the blown Carabiners. Charlie did think about charging with his light cavalry against these cuirassiers, but then decided that 2 Saxon artillery batteries, even with his predilection for rolling double ones at close range, could be pretty devastating on those cuirassiers. So he's going to open up with both batteries there. You're not going to charge with your cavalry in the distance over there, are you, Charlie? That was another cavalry charge you could have done.
Oh, no, I need to charge my infantry too.
No, I'd move the gun. I'd fire with the guns, Charlie, and reform your infantry to attack tomorrow morning, probably. Then Charlie has also charged with his Prussian cuirassiers against the unformed guard lancers. So do you want to start with your carabiners, Charlie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we're both heavy cavalry and we're both veterans, so that cancels one another out. I'm unformed and I've got 9 casualties, so I'm on -4. Let's see how we do. I'll take some blue dice for the French. It is traditional after all. We roll a 7, you roll a 7, so you have 1 by 4, Charlie. So that will be, I'm melee unformed, Yes, I'm melee unformed, you will melee with Elhan. Alright, that's a pretty good combat result there. Now let's have a look at the heavy cavalry here against my lancers. So lancers are elite. I am +1, but I lose that +1 for my casualties. You're heavy cavalry, so you are +1.
I'm just +3 to me.
And I'm unformed, so yeah, +3 to the Prussian cuirassiers. I have
lost
12, 11 rather. You've rolled a 5. Was that 5,
yeah.
Charlie? So that's an 8. So that's -3. You melee unformed, and I countercharge with Elan, but I am also unformed.
So you would just be.
So I just get a +1. So let's just put.
You'll get cancelled out though.
No, I get my Elan bonus, which I'll forget otherwise.
You'll get cancelled out by unformed, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I will forget it otherwise because we're both unformed at the moment. All right, that's it for charges. Let's do normal movement. All right, we've done the firing on the left flank, nothing hugely of note, but over here we've got multiple allied artillery batteries. So on the right, the allies certainly have got artillery superiority. You can open fire against the cuirassiers first then, Charlie. 2 batteries firing at close range. A 6 is 2 casualties.
Just need to do 2 more casualties.
And then the second one is a
course.
5, which is 1 casualty, so I'm on 11, so 1 away from collapsing. All right, and then you've got 2 batteries down here, and both of them will get bounced through against this French line battalion. 5, that's 1 casualty, we know that again, and a better one, an 8. At close range is 3, so that's 4 casualties and a discipline test for me.
And there's 1 bounce through.
And 1 bounce through. And I go to a 4, so I'm unformed with 4 casualties on that battalion. Alright, that's the end of firing in the turn, not as effective as Charlie could have hoped. I will certainly want to, I don't know why I didn't retire my cuirassiers unformed, which is what Charlie would normally do.
You can't do it now because they
I know, because I formed them up, so that was a really dumb thing to do.
They die now, so.
Alright, hand-to-hand combats. So we've got the cuirassiers with Elan against these poor Austrian line infantry. That will not go well, I don't imagine, for the line infantry. So we are heavy cavalry, we've got no casualties, so that's +2, and I'm 1 morale grade higher, so it's +3 dice for the French. How many casualties have you taken, Charlie? None. Okay, so it's 8 against 3. Cavalry should win.
Oh my
God. We cause 5 casualties, and they melee result table. I think they probably collapse, don't they? Yeah, they rout, and I take the ground. So they're not gone, Charlie. They're only routing. Okay, Charlie takes it very, very personally. It's always tough when you lose units. All right, this one should go better for Charlie. So we are neutralising one another because we're both heavy cavalry and we're both veterans. But I lose 2 dice because I've taken 9 casualties in my Carabiners. So I only get 3, Charlie gets 5. Let's see if he can do any better.
Oh, great.
Oh, it's a draw, so we get to fight a second round. Same number of dice again. I caused 2. You have wiped them out, so that will be a falter test next turn against my heavy cavalry brigade. So good result for Charlie there. All right, and then we have an assault over here on the left flank, don't we, Charlie?
Yeah.
So I've got.
You just get +1 because You just get +1. Or you get +2 because you're unformed. But
yeah, I'm not lancers against foot. I am elite cavalry, so I get +1.
Yeah, you just get +2 overall. Then.
I'm formed lancers against cavalry, so that's +2. Okay. And I've got a land, so that's +3, and then I lose 1, so I'm down to +2. You are.
I've just got 4 dice, Dad. I've just got 4 dice.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got 2 casualties for you, and I caused 2 casualties, so that's a draw. Right. I'm now on to 8 casualties, and you're on to 5. Yeah.
It's the exact same now.
But 1 dice less for both of us, isn't it? So I get 5 and you get 3, don't you? So I do well. I've got 3 casualties. You've caused 3 casualties. So I'm now on 11. So my guard lancers are virtually destroyed. Was I taking a dice off for being unformed? Can't remember. Apologies to those watching if we got that one wrong. And Charlie, you're on 8 casualties now. So I think on a second draw, after 2 rounds of melee, the attacker retires. So you were the attacker, weren't you?
Yeah.
So you'll pop back through your own lines, which is probably quite good for you. And I am very vulnerable to being taken out next turn, being only 1 casualty left on my Polish lancers, and they are also unformed. So that's it. That's charges, melee, and everything done for turn 9. Dusk is rapidly approaching. 1 more turn to go till the end of combat on day 1. All right, so first for the turn, we've got to do a falter test on our heavy cavalry brigade. That's a retire. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to retire because we don't want to end up in front of your guns. So we're going to take the retire order and we continue faltering. All right, Charlie pointed out to me I will lose another casualty if I retire. That'll cause that cuirassier unit to break, and that then will be a broken brigade, and it'll be a broken brigade that's faltering, so it won't be able to recover. So I've got to try and roll a better than a 3. And I roll a 1. Savoy Keeper, it's not much different really. The brigade falls. Right, so turn 10 charges. The second element of the Prussian heavy cavalry division has charged in. 3 regiments of dragoons have gone against the weakened lancers. Charlie's charged in on the right flank with his grenadiers against the extreme flank of that defensive French brigade. Otherwise, he's also charged in with his lancers against my unformed line. I think my unformed line will have to do a test at -3 to try and form square, so they won't. They will just do an unformed defensive volley, which causes an 8, which goes down to a 6, which is just 1 casualty, isn't it, Charlie, from a volley?
Yeah.
Are they?
No, Dad.
Yeah, 1 casualty.
It'll go down to 5 because you're -2 for being unformed and -1 for casualties.
Okay. Still 1 casualty, so it makes no difference. It's caused 1 casualty on the charging cavalry. All right, let's do the charge test then.
I can't wait to lose this somehow.
Yes, you'll roll a double 1 and I'll roll a double 6. It's what we do all the time, Charlie. Well, I've got a 9 and you've got an 8. So you're charging at how much?
So +2 because you're unformed. So just you net on me. Should we do a net result for me?
Yeah, net result for you is -4 or -5 on me, isn't it?
Yeah.
-2 for unformed, -2 for being charged in line, and -1 for casualties.
Yeah.
So you get 13 against 9. So you've won by 4. So you're meleeing with a land, and I think.
No, it might not be because you're infantry and it's
cavalry versus infantry. Yeah, you melee with a land. I melee unformed. All right, so that they go in. All right, we've got your dragoons.
I should charge them with the other one because the other ones are veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah, Everyone's doing better.
All right, dragoons, you're veterans against elite, but elite have got 9 casualties and are unformed.
And I'm heavy cavalry. They
So
count as heavies.
I am net plus. Are you veterans? Your
Yeah, but
dragoons.
aren't we heavies too? You said we're heavy.
You are heavies as no, only cuirassiers are heavies, I think.
We did that when we had the bigger ones. You said these
Yeah,
were
all right,
heavies.
we'll use them as heavies if you like.
Should we use one of them as a heavy and then the rest of them?
No, they all have to be the same because they're all standard dragoons. If they are heavy, I don't think they're heavies to be honest, Charlie. So let's not. They're medium cavalry. Cuirassiers are heavies because my dragoons aren't.
It's because we always use them as heavies when we.
Yeah, I think we'll just use them as normal. So you are veterans +1, and I am elite, so I am +2. But I am unformed, so I'm down to 0, and then I'm -2 for the casualties. So you're on +2 from this charge. I've got a reroll, you've got 2 rerolls. So the French get a 9. You've got a 9.
I'm supposed to keep it.
I'll have to try and reroll that. I get an 11. I'm not going to reroll that.
It's still going to be a combat, and I'm just.
Yeah, so you were on +3, were you?
Yeah, it's just going to be a
Okay,
combat.
you're going to have a big advantage in combat, so you're not going to go for a reroll.
Yeah, I only need to do 1 casualty.
Yeah, I think that's sensible. All right, so that'll go into combat, and then I've got an inferior volley from my regiment at -2.
No.
Loss of fire discipline. All right, you charging in.
I'm
You're
veteran.
on +1,
They're
and I'm on -2. You're on net +3 as you charge in. I get a 1. You get a 10. You won by 6. You can charge on. And that will be a falter test on that brigade, which we will do this evening before darkness falls. All right, are you going to do another charge into the second one? Yeah?
I can't charge against the weaker one. I can't charge.
No, you can't charge against the weaker
I
one.
would have gone. I could have gone against the cavalry, but I can't charge cavalry, so
Yeah.
they won't.
So, another defensive volley.
-1.
-1. 9, 8, so that's better. Better chance of stopping you this time. Standard volley 8 is 3 casualties on you, but not enough because that is your first casualties. So that'll be -2 to your charge.
But it'll just be it will be -1 to you because no +1 to you because I'm veteran now.
So you're veteran, so you're +1. You're -2, so you go down to -1, and I'm on -1, so it's a straight roll off, yeah? But you've got 2 supports. I've rolled a 6, you've rolled a 9, so you've won by 3, so that will be attacking unformed, won't it? Infantry versus infantry, attack, oh no, takes the ground, I take 1d3 casualties. So you take the ground, I fall back, I take an extra casualty, and I'll have to move them off. Right, with the loss of that unit, we've taken over 50% casualties in this division. There's actually only 2 formed battalions of the 8 left, that one in square outside the farm and the one behind the village. We have got a retreating one down there flowing through the village, but that's a broken brigade. It's on a falter test because of the grenadiers breaking through this turn. So that French division is now broken and flees. All right, so we've done shooting. We've removed the division here that collapsed under the weight of the Prussian attack. So the French left flank is in real trouble now. And it looks like we might be able to lose the Polish Lancers, the Guard, as well. So I start with 5 dice. I am elite, so I get +1, and I'm Lancers against cavalry, so I get +2, so that takes me up to 7. But I've got 3 casualties, so that takes me down to 4 dice. Charlie, you're attacking with dragoons.
I'm just get 5.
So you get 5 dice. All right, let's see.
If I don't do a single casualty.
If you don't do a single casualty, that would be truly embarrassing.
They're gone.
I did cause 3, which is not bad, but I'm gone, and that will be a falter test on that light cavalry brigade. Right, then final combat of the turn. We've got my line. I'm unformed, and I've taken 6 casualties. So I get 3 dice. You are formed, so you get 5. I do 2 casualties.
I do 4. So
Okay, you've broken that line,
They're on 10.
and I think they are destroyed, aren't they? We're lost by 2 against cavalry.
I got 5 casualties actually.
You caused
I
how
saw
many?
another
5. So
5.
you've won by 3. Cavalry versus infantry. I disperse. and you take the ground.
So we've got.
So that's a falter test on that brigade.
So that'll be the final brigades.
Yeah. So that's bad news for them. Any other hand-to-hand combats? No, that's it. All right, we'll just do those falter tests. We'll assume I can get enough ADCs overnight to re-roll for them. So we roll a 4, which is a rally, isn't it, Charlie?
A 4 is a rally.
So we will rally in place, and that'll be it for the day. So here we are at the end of day 1 of our recreation of something that may be pretending to be Leipzig. So if we look over on this right flank where our Saxons, who are playing as Austrians, they may even have some British light cavalry in here, mightn't they, Charlie? Playing as Austrian light cavalry, have done reasonably well. They've captured this farm, but the French division is still reasonably intact here and will have to reform overnight. But we have lost one of our artillery batteries, but we do also have a reserve. In the centre, the Russians have been particularly undistinguished. They had small remnants of a division. They're holding this village in the centre, but we do have a French counterattack ready to go in, and really quite strong French forces in the centre. But the real challenge for the French is on the left flank, where we have the Prussians pouring into the outer elements of the Leipzig defences. So overnight, we're going to work out what the front line is, allow our divisions to do free redeployments within their front line, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like at the beginning of day 2. Right, quick video of dawn on day 2, and it's looking tough for the French. So you can see their whole outer line of defence here had collapsed. The light cavalry have pulled back and have redeployed and re-brigaded onto the table. They're in reserve in the centre here. The Young Guard have occupied the left-hand side of Leipzig, occupying those buildings, and they've still holding this front line close to this village held by the Prussians, but the Prussian army is just ever growing. So we've got all of the Lambert battalions now to renew the assault. We've got the Guard Brigade in the far corner, and we've got another whole division of Prussians coming on. We've got a new Prussian heavy cavalry division, and we still have all the grenadiers, all the dragoons and hussars available, but they're running out of space. The French have brought up some Saxon heavy cavalry and light cavalry to reinforce the front line here, and they've moved their reserve division into assault formation to attack this division. But the challenge for Charlie will be, will he be able to resist the Prussian counterattack, the French counterattack. So the French are planning to counterattack with this division here, recapture this village and push on into the Russians and the Prussians who've moved up on this flank. And we've also got the option of deploying the Old Guard. So they've moved out of deep reserve, and we've got the Guard heavy cavalry and the Old Guard battalions potentially to able to throw up against the Austrians, or again to swing south and drive in against the Prussians.
They were going to hit that death corner, I have to admit.
Well, yeah, there are 4 artillery batteries there, so the 2 batteries defending the Austrians might look a more favourable target for my Guard, and then we might try and swing in behind. Anyway, we're definitely going to do some counter-attacking with the French, otherwise we're just going to get crushed in this position.
Yeah, I feel like the Allies, the Prussians might advance, but these ones here can probably just stay put, because you're coming to them. Yeah. They might as well just do all of the casualties to you, and then get the French troops just to walk in.
Yeah,
that could be right. They don't really need to attack up here. We could just try and take Leipzig or the Prussian army, because it's very big.
So far for the net position in the battle, the French have lost 1 of their 4 infantry divisions in reality, and the Prussians have added 2 divisions to their side. So we've seen a net swing from about a slight Allied advantage on day 1 to a heavy Prussian advantage and Allied advantage on day 2.
It's not Allied, it's just Prussian, and there's so many of them.
There are a lot of Prussians. We have a lot of Prussian troops in our 15mm army, don't we, Charlie?
I don't think there'll be actually that many.
All right, cool. We'll see how day 2 plays out.